One of the things I didn't know until I got my foster care records was that one of my foster carers used to keep diary entries on me. And here they are. I didn't put the black marks on them. Those are redactions that social services added once they gave me my records. I lived with this woman for 7 months, so she had a lot to say. They're in the wrong order, but I don't really think that matters. I'll try not to give too much context because I don't want this video to be too long, and I'll definitely make a part 2 because there must be some real gold in. Let's go. All you need to know for context is I lived with this foster carer for 7 months. This foster carer was an alcoholic. He had some sort of painkiller addiction, but so did I at the time. I didn't realise my intake was a problem until I stopped taking them, but I did that successfully. This is the 23rd of September 2011. Lauren spoke to blank blank and asked for him to find her a new placement. She then packed her suitcase. I explained he would not be able to find her a new placement so quickly. She said she would sleep on the streets if she had to, and then gave me loads of verbal abuse. Then she went out and did not return until 1 in the morning. I hated that placement. I hated that placement so much. Okay. That was September. I stopped living there in December. Okay, so not long after. 26th of September. I took Lauren to college. She came back at 2:30 saying she only had a half day. That was awesome. I was watching TV when I discovered a diary left out on the sofa across the room. I think Lauren left it out deliberately. It was already open on a page and she'd wrote that she hates me. 15th of July. Lauren was home all day on laptop watching TV. She went out early evening to visit friends. She did not return, so I had to call the police. I know for a fact there's a lot of these. I've seen my records, the amount of like missing persons reports, the amount of times I was reported missing. Yeah. These are actually really sad to read because a lot of these, like I said, I'm reading it out of order, but so many of these entries just talk about how I stayed in bed all day. Because I was like the type that I'd be out all evening being stupid, and then, yeah, I'd be home all day. 4th of November. Lauren was home all day. She asked me to buy her a bottle of vodka. I refused, so she went out and bought it herself with her pocket money. 20th of October. I was informed by blank blank that Lauren has lost her college placement due to poor attendance. 29th of June. I went to supervision for 2 hours and discussed with the social worker Lauren's erratic behaviour. She said I need to go more in depth with Lauren about the house rules. 30th of June. Lauren texted me at 1:30 to say she would be home within an hour. She returned at 3 o'clock saying she was going back out again at 4:30, but would return to the placement later as she had court tomorrow. She came back at 7:30. She phoned me to ask where I was. I immediately returned home. She had tried to gain access to my house through the open back window. She had put a chair there and tried to climb in. So the court thing, I'll talk about that another time, but it's not as bad as it sounds. July the 1st. Lauren went to court. She came home and fell asleep on the armchair. Monday the 11th of April 2011. Lauren returned to the house at 7 p.m. A Surrey police officer was waiting for her in my kitchen to arrest her for breaching her bail conditions. I had to supply a written statement of the days, times she had not returned. Oh yeah, because so I had a curfew. Part of my bail conditions was I had to be home between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. And obviously I didn't do that. I stayed at friends a lot because I didn't enjoy the foster placement. But yeah. Lauren was taken to Reigate Police Station where she was kept in overnight. I received a call advising me that Lauren was okay and they would take her to court the next day. The 12th of April, so this is the next day. Had several phone calls about Lauren from the youth offending team. She was actually seen at 3 p.m. in the end. I collected her from court. She goes back in May, but the curfew has been lifted. So my curfew, I remember that, my curfew got taken away. Lauren stayed at home all night, no trouble. I should have read this one first. So this was the week before. Everything I just said, this was the week before. Police were in touch on and off all day. Lauren texted me saying she wanted to come home, but she also didn't because she thought she would be arrested for breaching her bail conditions. I promised her that she wouldn't. And then a week later I did. 28th of May. Lauren stayed home all day in bed complaining of a sore throat. She says she does not seem to be getting any better. She was up all night cooking pancakes, chips and porridge. She went to bed at 7 a.m. I think she needs to see a dentist. 20th of April. This woman called blank came to visit Lauren and had brought her a second-hand bike. Lauren's social worker is on leave. I will check about this woman. Lauren was up all night cooking pizza. She was in the kitchen fully dressed at 5:15 a.m. and then went for a walk at 7 a.m. and came back at 8 a.m. 19th of... Sorry, but I see some of the words before. Lauren home all day, watching a film on her laptop. During the night, she took a whole cooked chicken out of the oven and ate just the part she wanted from it and then left it on the tabletop. The dog, she had a Japanese Akita. Mitzi, the dog, ate the chicken and there was nothing left. Lauren said she was really sorry. 25th of April. Lauren texted me asking if I could pick her up from Sutton train station as she didn't have any money and was too tired and hungry to move. So this is the last day. This was the day I stopped living with her, which was 3rd of January. The psychologist came to see Lauren at 1:30 p.m. for an hour. She was in her pajamas crying. I went out for a while to do some food shopping and I received a call from blank asking if she could meet me at my house. We talked in my front room. Lauren stayed in her pajamas even though it was 4 p.m. Lauren said she wanted to leave the placement that night. Blank, social worker, says she could not get a placement that quickly. I did not realise, but Lauren had already packed her things. Lauren said she wanted to stay at her friend's until a new placement could be found. Lauren was still crying. She told me she didn't like me and said that she would happily go to a new placement without her stuff if that was the hold-up. On Wednesday, Lauren and the social worker came to my door to collect her things. I would not let Lauren in the house as she had texted me calling me a c***. I have kept the text. I have now put these diary entries in order. So it starts from the first day I moved in. Tuesday, the 5th of April, 2011. Lauren, my surname and birthday, arrived at 6:30 p.m. I first had a chat with Lauren and showed her her bedroom. She said she had already eaten. She has her own laptop. She went to bed at about 9:40 p.m. I saw her in my kitchen getting a drink at 1:30 a.m. By the way, I'm not going to read all of these because some of these entries are just Lauren stayed home all day and yeah. Those are boring. 6th of April. Lauren slept in until 12 o'clock. I told her I had made her a dentist appointment as she was complaining of a sore gum. She said she was going out at 2:30. She did not return to the placement but texted saying she was staying out. I phoned the police. The police arrived at 10:15 p.m. to report her missing. They asked for a photo of her, which I did not have. If you've watched my other foster care diary entries, you'll know that at the time I'd gotten a bit of trouble with the police and I had a curfew. I had to be home between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m, which obviously I wasn't doing. The 7th of April. Police were in touch on and off all day. Lauren texted me but did not want to return to the placement as she thought she would be arrested for breaching her conditions. I assured her by text several times that this would not happen. She came back at 8:30 p.m. A police officer debriefed her. I cooked her pizza. She went to bed early. 8th of April. Lauren had breakfast and went out at 11:30 a.m. 2 police officers came to the house to speak to her, but she wasn't here. They said they wanted to arrest her for... I'll go into that another time. And had evidence. She did not return to the placement. I phoned the police. She did text me to say she would be back that night. Police took down her mobile number. Police phoned at 8 a.m. Lauren came back in the evening. I collected her from Ewell, so that's where we were living, Ewell in Epsom. I collected her from Ewell outside the co-op. She said her gums were really hurting. The 11th of April. Lauren returned at 7:30 p.m. A police officer was waiting in my kitchen to arrest her for breach of her bail conditions. I had to supply a written statement of the day's time she had not returned. She was taken to Reigate Police Station, where she was kept in overnight. I received a call advising me she was okay, and they would take her to court. Wednesday, the 13th of April. 2 police officers came to the home to arrest Lauren for the thing I was talking about in my other video. They took her to South Norwood Police Station, asking me to attend as an appropriate adult. I did not want to, so they provided her one at the station. As far as I'm aware, she has been interviewed, fingerprinted, and charged. The police brought her back at 8 p.m. Friday the 15th of April. Lauren asked me if I could take her to the doctors. I told her that she was not signed up with the doctors, so I could not take her. Lauren asked if I could take her to sign her up at my doctor's. I said no, as she probably wouldn't be living here that long and there would be no point in registering her to mine. Lauren went anyway. Lauren called me at 2 p.m. She said the doctors couldn't see her because none were available, but they sent her to Epsom A&E. She was seen at 4 p.m. I collected her from the hospital and we went to the pharmacy to get the medication. 20th of April. Lauren was home all day sleeping. Then in the early hours, she was walking around the bungalow keeping me awake. 21st of April. Lauren got up really early, fully dressed at 6 a.m. Her youth offending worker called at 11:30 and took her out for an hour. Her clinical psychologist came to see her at 1 o'clock and they sat for an hour in the garden chatting. Lauren sunbathed in the garden in the afternoon. 23rd of April. Lauren texted saying she had missed the bus and was staying at the same address in Purley. She did not return to the placement. I called the police. 24th of April. Lauren didn't return again. I called the police. 26th of April. Lauren home all day watching TV on laptop. She spends most of the time in her room. Picking up from the 28th of April, so this is still within the first month that I moved in. Lauren stayed in all day, went out early evening, and had £10 pocket money. She did not return, so I called the police. 30th of April. Lauren returned at 10:30 in the morning, went out at 3 p.m, didn't come back, so I called the police. Guess what happened on the 1st of May? I didn't come home. The police were called. Monday, the 2nd of May. At 5 a.m, 2 police officers came to my house to fill in a missing person report. I just want to say quickly that every time I went missing, I was always texting the foster carer. It wasn't a situation of, my phone was off and she didn't hear from me for 3 days. I always stayed in touch. I just never told her the address I was at because I didn't want her to send police officers to the address. When I was in care, all I wanted was to just be a normal teenager. I just wanted to have a sleepover at one of my friends. It was embarrassing enough being in care and the thought of them police turning up to collect me. Yeah, no 16-year-old wants that. Okay, Lauren arrived back at 7:30 a.m, saying she had stayed with friends. She ate well all day. 11 p.m, Lauren woke me up cooking pizza. I asked her not to go in the kitchen anymore. She was in and out of the kitchen most of the night. Thursday the 5th of May. Lauren was home all day, baking in the kitchen. She made an awful mess. I need to skip a couple of entries because they're all just Lauren didn't come home, Lauren didn't come home. Lauren home all day, Lauren home all day. 11th of May, Lauren at court today about the offending worker picked her up at 8:45. She was taken to Croydon Court. She was there all day for 9 hours. She was brought back at 6:15 p.m. She has to go to trial in June. The 12th of May, Lauren's LAC review was at North Cheam. I took Lauren along. The outcome is that Lauren is to stay in the placement and to be registered with a doctor. If you watched my last video, she didn't want to register me with a doctor, but I guess she did. And also a dentist. Lauren said in the meeting that she'd really like to learn tennis. Lauren also wants to join a college and to try and get her sleeping pattern back to normal. Lauren went to stay in Tooting at her friend's for the night. She came back at 6:30 in the morning. 15th of May. Lauren stayed in bed most of the day. She was up most of the night. Her cooking kept me awake. I sound really depressed, don't I? Well, I was depressed, but yeah. No sort of mental health concerns are mentioned in these as far as I'm aware. But anyway, and I'm just going to skip all the entries where I didn't return home because there's just too many. Friday the 20th of May. Lauren went to the local park with her advocate to play tennis. She was out for 2 hours. She then went to the cinema in Sutton. She returned home at 11 p.m. 25th of May 2011. Lauren woke me up crying outside my bedroom at 7 a.m, saying she could not swallow and that she had a large lump in her throat. She asked if I could take her to A&E, but I was busy, so she got a taxi there. She then texted me to say they thought she had tonsillitis. She saw a nurse who prescribed her penicillin and cocodamol, which was really good for my painkiller addiction. Once Lauren returned home, she stayed in bed most of the day, drinking lots of fluid and soft food. Lauren kept me awake most of the night, going in and out of the kitchen for water. Lauren does not sleep at all. It is becoming a real problem. 26th of May. Lauren did not fall asleep until 6 a.m. She had eaten well and taken her medication. Considering she has a very sore throat, she does not stop eating. I went to bed early, asking her not to keep me awake going in and out of the kitchen, which for once she did not. 29th of May. Lauren took the dog on a walk for me. 30th of May. Lauren at home all day, in brackets, peaceful night. 31st of May, I took Lauren to Sutton Shopping Centre. I opened up a building society account for her, making myself the trustee. I put £200 of her savings in there, which she didn't actually return to me until a year after I stopped living there. Blank Blank came to visit Lauren, so I think it was a social worker, as she is moving to a different department. Lauren will have a new social worker. The nurse came to see Lauren to check out her gums. Her gums are a lot better now. 19th of June. Lauren came home at 10:40 a.m. She cooked herself a really good breakfast. I don't know what that was. Thursday the 23rd of June. I went into Lauren's room to put her washing in there. She was asleep on the floor. 24th of June. Lauren is spending a lot of time in my front room. When you go into foster care, some foster carers will give you this big speech about how their home is your home. And then they get annoyed when you spend time in it. And I say some foster carers. A lot of foster carers are not like that. July the 3rd. Lauren home all day. Her and my daughter were in the garden all evening drinking. So I'm 16. I've just turned 16. Her daughter was about, I don't know, she was in her 30s or 40s. And back then at that age, I loved a drink. But in hindsight, I look back and think, I shouldn't have been allowed to do that. I shouldn't have been allowed to drink with your daughter. I was so underage. July the 4th. My daughter took Lauren to the pub. I remember this. They came back at 2 p.m. Lauren was so drunk she could barely walk. July the 6th. Today we had Lauren's LAC review. All the professionals sat in a circle except for Lauren, who faced the other way the entire time. So you know when you sit in a chair like I am right now, facing you, I would just turn my whole back so I didn't have to look at anyone. Monday the 11th of July, Lauren went for an interview at her college. Her youth offending team officer took her. Yeah, I ended up dropping out within a couple of weeks, but we'll get to that. Tuesday the 12th of July, Lauren sat in my living room watching my TV. Again, 20th of July, Lauren in my front room watching my TV with my blanket. 22nd of July, Lauren went to Croydon at 5:30. She did not return to the placement. I called the police. Lauren didn't return for 2 days, called the police each time. 25th of July, Lauren, her tongue pierced. It's not pierced anymore. I took it out years ago and it's closed up. Monday the 1st of August, Lauren came home and had bought hair extensions. 27th of September, was home all day. A friend of her mother's came round at 2 o'clock. She took Elle shopping to get some folders for college. I don't know if you just noticed, but there was nothing between the 2nd of August and the 23rd of September, and that is because my foster carer went on holiday. She went to India and then had put me with a respite carer, which is so common for kids in care. Carer goes on holiday, you go somewhere else. I'm not going to say my opinion on that because definitely foster carers deserve a break. Foster carers need respite. They need time away from the foster child. But I mean, yeah, she went away for like over a month. She then also went away on the 2nd of October. So I took Lauren and all her belongings to a respite carer in Carshalton. I'm on holiday from the 4th of October until the 16th of October. And this is the thing, she forgot to pick me up. She was supposed to pick me up, it was the day after, so she was supposed to pick me up on the 17th of October. And she forgot. She didn't come and get me until the 19th. And I remember she got in loads of trouble for that. I don't know how she forgot. How do you forget? Anyway, don't get me wrong. I know when I lived with this woman, I was a real brat. Like, I was really bratty. I know that. I don't want to do the whole justifying thing, but things that had happened to my past, like a psychologist could be like, yeah, that's why she was acting that way. 24th of October. Lauren was in bed all day. I got Sky Broadband working, which pleased Lauren. 28th of October. I had a conversation with Blank, who said he thinks Lauren is very depressed and withdrawn. He told me to keep a close eye on her over the weekend. 30th of October. I cooked a roast dinner. Lauren ate it all and seemed really happy with it. In the evening, Lauren cooked herself another chicken dinner. Oh, this is the one. Yeah, I asked her to buy me vodka and she said no. November the 6th. Lauren was home all day. She was very moody because she had a toothache. I gave her some Percocet. I would later go on to steal a lot of that Percocet.